G'day there guys, it's your main man, Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/relationship advice. Now if you love today's advice, whatever is going on in the stories, I want you to tell me what you think about it down below in the comments. Smash that like button, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thank you. Posted by user ThrowRA-Fee-Corful-8930, titled, I, 37 male, can't have kids, but my wife, 30 female, does, and I'm scared that if I'm honest with her, it'll end the relationship. Me and my wife have been married 3 years, together 5, and we've always really wanted kids. Sadly, I have had testicular cancer twice now since we've been together, and because of the obvious reasons why, I'm sadly now completely infertile. I can't have any biological children of my own. It obviously really hurts, but it is what it is, right? That's life, I suppose. She's been really broody lately because her sister/my sister-in-law had a baby last year, and she really wants to start a family. Obviously, because of my medical history, it's looking like we'd have to use a fertility clinic. We've been discussing it a lot lately, and she wants to go in the next 6 months or so when everything is back to normal here, UK. We always said when I was all in the clear and I'm back to 100% health, we'd look into our options having kids, and I'm luckily back to full health now. But the more she talks about it, I don't think I can go through with it. Basically, I hate the thought of raising another man's baby. I know she wants all the moments like a scan, baby showers, buying all the stuff together, etc., but I just don't think I can go through with it. She can tell something is up with me. I've not been sleeping well this week, very quiet and irritable, and I'm trying to brush it off as just being stressed at work. But she knows me too well and is worrying about me. I know I can't keep on lying to her, but I can't break her heart like this. If she thinks I feel this way and don't want this, she'll be crushed. Honestly, don't get me wrong. If we could have kids, I'd love to, and this wouldn't be a thought at all. But I know she wants at least one of her own and wants to go through childbirth, pregnancy, etc., and all that entails. So adoption is out. I know she's not against it, but she said in the past she'd love to adopt after having biological kids of her own. How do I tell her? I bet this could end our relationship, right? Kuz Hunk says, quote, I think if I tell her, it'll crush her, end quote. The alternative is to what? Keep delaying this until you literally can't anymore? Or go through with something that you don't want to do? If you love her, you can't keep this from her. Your feelings on the matter impact both of you. I agree. Do her a favor and let you go. She's 30. She has at least 5 years of good eggs left, 10 or more if she's lucky. She needs to get back out there ASAP. Let the poor girl go. If you're against raising another man's baby, wouldn't adoption be out too? That's what I was thinking too. Maybe he's afraid of not feeling close to the baby if it's biologically his wife's but not his. Adoption would put them both on the same starting point with a child. I don't know about the UK, but it's much easier where I live to go through IVF or other forms of assisted fertility than adopt a child too. In any event, OP has to talk with his wife. And OP replies, I put this in my OP. I'm not against it myself, but she doesn't want to adopt until she's experienced pregnancy and gave birth herself. She's very firm on that. The point being raised was that adoption is also another man's baby. The way you worded your post, you make it seem like you were more scared of the thought of childbirth rather than the baby itself. Is there a reason that you didn't freeze your sperm before you went ahead with your cancer treatments? Didn't have a chance. Everything happened so quickly, it wasn't an option. Having the type of testicular cancer I had, and the frequency I had it in both, it's still being investigated. Well, that sucks, and I'd have to say that your healthcare provider dropped the ball on making that option available to you. It takes 3 minutes to rub one out into a cup. 15 if I'm being generous. Honestly, man, I think you have to tell her. It would be so much better for everyone if you tell her you're opposed to the whole thing, instead of going through with it and hating yourself for never saying anything. Adoption is always another option if you're still considering children. It doesn't sound like you're actually against raising a child born from someone else, as you'd be happy to adopt. It sounds like you haven't worked through the emotions associated with being unable to conceive yourself. Be honest with your wife and get into counseling. What? A reasonable response that isn't trying to make the OP feel terrible about himself? Too bad the other responses are so focused on guilt-tripping him rather than understanding him. People above are being a-holes, saying that he doesn't deserve to be a father if he doesn't want to raise someone else's child. You'll have to understand that there's nothing comparable to having your own child. Update. I wasn't expecting to do an update so soon. Sadly, it's not a great one. So I managed to pluck up the courage and tell her yesterday. I basically said the thought of having a child through sperm donation is really making me sad. I feel inadequate that I can't be the one to give her the child, and that I think it'll kill me inside watching her grow and be happy, knowing it's not a bit of me growing inside her. She was so crushed, and we both broke down. After composing ourselves a bit, we talked some more, and I said I think I want to do therapy. I said I feel that if I do some, it might help me come to terms with what's happened to me, and maybe I'll see things a bit differently in time, and I might change my mind, but I can't promise. She thought that would be a good idea, as it's been hard watching me, knowing something's up. That was last night, and I thought that was a good start. But this morning I got up and I could see that she was so down. She admitted she couldn't promise me that she could go through with the time it would take to wait while I decide, and the uncertainty as she's not getting much younger and feels spent from the past years of supporting me through it all. It led to a big argument. Basically, me accusing her of not caring about me, and she called me a selfish expletive. So she basically said she's going to leave for a bit to calm down, gather her thoughts. She asked her folks if she could stay with them, and they've agreed, so she's packed a few bits on the way over. I'm sitting here just doing nothing at all. I can't say I feel good or anything telling her. In fact, I wish I just kept it in. Who knows what's going to happen now? And for the last time, I don't necessarily want to adopt. I just said flippantly on my last post, I'm not against as such, and would consider it, but she doesn't want to yet. I'm sick of people repeating that point. Final edit. I probably won't reply to as many comments now, as I've probably got as much perspective as I need. Some has been great, some not so much, but I think I need to start dealing with crap now. And also, we actually talked. Video call before bed, and it was really positive. I opened up a good bit and was honest about a lot of my issues and insecurities, and she reminded me of some really good things about myself, my good qualities, what she still finds sexy, because I hardly ever feel that at all anymore, and why she fell in love with me. And you know what? For the first time in ages, I forgot about my cancer and remembered a bit about who I am and was before all this. It was the first time in over a year the conversation was just about us and each other, and it reminded us both, all we do is talk about cancer and babies these days, and we are probably putting too much pressure on ourselves and each other. So couples counseling is an absolute must as a minimum, but I feel better today, if I'm honest. Keep in mind, some of these comments were written before that last part, so it might not take that into account. Hannah Kate Banana says, she told you how she was feeling, and you came down on her. But when you told her how you were feeling, she supported you going to therapy. Even if she can't wait for you, you should still go to therapy. What you've gone through is traumatic, and you clearly need help processing everything. Do it now so it shows that you're trying, while she's getting some space. Remember, just because she doesn't know if she can wait doesn't mean that she doesn't care about you. At what point does she do what's best for her instead of everyone else? She wants a baby, and you knew about the surrogacy. This is what she wants, and if she doesn't do it, she may regret it for the rest of her life. This is really sad for both of you, and I'm sorry you have to go through it. I hope you both can work past this and come out even stronger as a team. Thank you. Me too. I hate that this is all happening because of me. I feel the worst I've ever felt in my life right about now. Your inability to have children is something that happened to you. How you choose to handle that, and the consequences thereof, however, are because of you. It is incredibly important that you recognize the difference. Exactly. And I'm taking steps to help me get my head around it, e.g. with therapy and/or couples counseling. I just don't understand why people are now adverse to me saying that's what I need. I never said or suggested that you don't have the right to decide what you need. I think it is important that you identify what you need and that you advocate for that. It's equally important to understand, though, that your wife is just as entitled to state and seek to fulfill her needs. I'm sincerely sorry if those two things wind up being incompatible, and I hope you are able to work it out. It's worth understanding the distinction, though, that your wife has, it appears, accepted you are unable to have children. It is your unwillingness to allow her to have children that seems to be the sticking point. And OP replies, rather unpopularly, "Well, that's fine, and you've put it well. I get that. I'm referring to the comments like, you're a selfish expletive, let her get a donor or divorce her for a man who can get her pregnant. They are not helpful for anyone." From my perspective, people are calling you a selfish expletive because you accused your wife of not caring about you after she supported you through cancer and all because she's upset that your hang-ups will potentially ruin her life's dream. Your hang-up is selfish, but not expletively. That you can't wrap your mind around the consequences of your hang-up, however, is shitty. We feel how we feel, but we don't get to manage how other people react, and that's the part you seem fixated on, managing how your wife and Reddit reacts. No, I said that because of things she said along the lines of being worn out from looking after me and wanting to care or focus on the cancer and wanting something to look forward to again, which to someone who's had and recovered from cancer sounds awfully close to, you're a burden because you've had cancer, which I've personally felt every day since I was diagnosed and going through treatments. We apologized to each other subsequently for what we said and acknowledged that we are both just really upset and need time to think. I can wrap my mind around it, but need help to start to deal with it, hence why I want a bit of time. If she can't deal with it, then she can't deal with it, and must make a decision based on what she wants ultimately, and one which I'd support even if it hurts. Posted by user ThrowRA Conflict Mum, titled, Extreme Conflict with my mother and her fiancé, their dogs, and my toddler. I want to keep this as short and concise as I can. I apologize if this gets long. My mom has always had an issue with taking in more animals than she can care for, and now that it's at its head with 5 large dogs and an outdoor cat, they are all in various stages of poor health. Some are so sickly now that they are in constant pain. I moved in with my child several months ago, due to some issues in our life and needing to get on my feet. My mother insisted I move home to save money, and so she could see her grandchild. For a while, it was great, and my little one got to have fun experiencing new food, baked sweets, and laughing and playing with the healthier dogs. There haven't been many issues with aggression at all, besides the dogs amongst themselves. My mother nor her fiancé train the animals. They run the house. Things gradually got more tense as the dogs moved into what became my toddler's play area, and then getting aggressive if they tried to approach the toys to play. I mentioned this, shooed the dogs away myself so they could have a safe place out of the playroom. This began the conflict, because I was mean for redirecting the dogs somewhere that my child doesn't play, which is just one room in the house. The rest is theirs, besides the room I share with my child. It came to a head last night, while my mother was making dinner. The dogs crowded the kitchen, I was trying to get my child dinner, and the largest dog lunged and tried to attack my child's face. My child is only 2 years old. I snapped, I yelled at the dog to get out of the kitchen. It circled my mother's legs and stayed there. I then told my mum, and she was right there, but she said since she didn't see it, she doesn't know what I want her to do. I told her to discipline her dog, and took my child upstairs to our room. Eventually, my mum's fiancé came in, asked what was wrong, and I told him what happened. He said nothing and left. My mum came up after and started a fight because he has only been aggressive this once. The dog isn't feeling good. He's normally so nice. I told her that he may have been a non-aggressive dog prior to this, but today he tried to attack a toddler unprovoked. You need to train your dogs and figure out what to do with a dog that tried to attack. She told me not to lecture her and left. When I tried to get my child's dinner again, I was cornered with my child on my hip by my mum and her fiancé. It boiled down to the fiancé screaming at me for 40 minutes, telling me I was a bad mother who probably didn't see what my child did to provoke the dog because I was probably distracted, and then more insults and defense for them. My mum said nothing when she screamed at me. She just stood there. All I had to say was that if you cannot control a dog, and if it's attacking people, you need to make a hard choice and have the animal looked and trained. It got worse when her fiancé started stomping around the kitchen, clapping his hands and screaming, "Okay, dog, let's go back out. Time to effing kill you. Come on, let's go shoot you in the effing head, dog." He insisted we, child and I, leave since we hate the dog so much. His outburst scared my child to tears. I took my child's dinner, left back upstairs to our room, and stayed there the night. I called my grandmother so I could calm down, because I was crying hard and having a hard time keeping control of my panic from the time the dog tried at 5:30 p.m. all the way to 8 when I called her. My mother left to my grandmother's when I called, and told her the entire interaction was a lie, and that I was screaming at them over how much I hate the dogs. My ex offered me a place to stay for our child, temporarily with him. He offered to help me get an apartment for the two of us, and I'm going to be taking that offer. Last night was too much. My mother is acting like everything is normal, but she has always managed to forget the problems she creates and ignores. She forgets and tells me nothing that's happened ever actually happened. I wanted to keep a relationship with her, but she's choosing a dog and a fiancé that she's wanted to leave for years over her daughter, who has stuck up for her for years, and her grandchild. I don't know where to go from here. I'm at a point considering never speaking to her or giving her access to my child when I leave. I just want advice. My head hurts, and I'm more than a little heartbroken over my bullcrap situation. Your mom let her fiancé scream at you? Not just for a moment, but for over 30 minutes? Yep, you need out of that house ASAP. Your mom doesn't even know how to take care of a dog. Sick dogs need no provoking time to behave abnormally. It could be in pain or even have dementia. You're right. I feel bad for the animals because it's clear they are suffering, but that's no excuse for her to cling to an animal just to prolong its pain. I agree. It takes a very unselfish person to let go of an animal when it's time rather than let it suffer. Some people don't have it in them. You don't need to decide right now whether to forgive your mother, but you do need to get you and your child out right now for your baby's safety. Update. Before going into real detail, I want to sincerely thank the people that gave me advice in private chats and on the post. Thank you all so much. It really meant a lot to me when I was so scared and upset that I didn't know what to do with myself. Thank you so much. Now for the post itself. I apologize if it is all over the place or maybe doesn't make sense. A lot has happened, and while I'm better, I'm still processing a lot of things. The morning after making my first post, my child and I went to stay with my grandmother for the night, so that I could calm down somewhere my little one is safe. She talked me down a lot, heard my side of the story, and was a really fair, neutral party. She didn't take sides, and completely understood how I was scared, sad, and angry, and didn't judge me for losing my mind a little on my mum and her fiancé the night before. My mum called sometime during that visit. It was not a productive call. She ignored the fact that her fiancé screamed at me for so long, scared my child, and called me a negligent mother for their dog trying to attack my child. I brought my points to the table. Her fiancé screaming at me for more than half an hour at once and scaring my toddler. Her fiancé calling me a negligent mother and blaming my child for the dog attacking, and her standing there the entire time saying nothing while he did this. It boiled down to her saying essentially, "Yes, fiancé yelled, screamed. You did too. Fiancé said things, but I've always stuck up for you. I am not choosing between you and my dog, and I am staying with my fiancé." I ended the call telling her that I loved her. She did not respond. She can't even say she loves me anymore. That hurts a bit. In the end, her only concern was the fact that she's heartbroken that my child is no longer there. The longer I've listened to her play her guilt games, and her making me feel crazy by denying everything she has said and I have witnessed, I realized she really only wanted me home so she could have access to my child, with the benefit of me being there to clean up after their animals, pay for their oil bill, clean their home, play best friend with her, and cook their meals. My brother, my ex's family, and my best friend helped me realize this. My brother sat me down while I was at my grandmother's and told me the same thing he's been saying since we were kids. Our mum is not a good mother or person. He told me some things he's observed about my relationship with her, which was more or less, you forgive everything that should never be forgiven. You don't do it for you do it for her, and she does not give a crap about how that affects you. You defended her for things that have hurt and traumatized us both for life. You were naive and trusted her every time she let you down and hurt you. When you went home with her, she won. She wanted your kid, and she got them. Please don't go back. It was a point that I couldn't even deny it, and I feel like an idiot for not realizing everything sooner. I have spent my entire life trying to get my mum to love me. I allowed her to be horrible to me and the people I love because I was scared that she would rescind her love for me, and in the end, she did it anyway. For my grandmother's, I called my ex, and I asked him if the offer was still open to stay with him. He said yes, and I left my grandmother's with my son to stay there. The first several nights were spent talking about what happened at my mum's, how we both felt about the situation, and eventually we ended up talking about our relationship and how it ended, and how we've both grown since we separated. He spent a long time listening to me talk, letting me cry, and comforting me when he really didn't have to. And to say I appreciate and needed that is an incredible understatement. The entire time I've been here, my mother has been insulting and attacking the character of my ex and his parents, and attacking and insulting me. I am disgusted, embarrassed, and just exhausted, honestly. My ex and his parents have taken it in stride, assured me I have no need to apologize for her, and only set one hard rule that my mother and her fiancé are banned from his place. I completely agreed. Some good has come from what happened, though. My ex and I are back together, and without my mum complaining, lying, crying, and pushing her boundaries to undermine him or use me, we've been doing amazing. Communicating, working together, having fun, and feeling things out. Our child is happy and having a blast seeing the ex's parents more, visiting my grandmother, and being home again. I don't have my mum starting drama or whispering in my ear and making me second-guess everything I do or X does. X and I both admitted our wrongs. We both apologized for how we were, and we're working very hard together to build a healthy foundation that we lacked before. I got to reconnect with my ex's family, and got to apologize for how I let my need for my mum's love and approval push me away from them, and in the end, led me to being very unfair to them. I got to explain the tantrums and crying fits my mum would have every time I would visit them with X and our son. I acknowledged that I did a lot wrong without realizing it, and that my lack of understanding of those wrongs did not make them something I would avoid apologizing for. I got to apologize, and I am so grateful they let me. X's mum hugged me after I explained everything, told me she had a suspicion that my mum had some hand in things from the beginning. She says, "The way you acted those times, I knew that just wasn't like you," and told me she still loved me. I still had to try very hard not to cry when she did. X's dad was excited to see me again, and I was just excited to be surrounded by X and his parents' company again. I am looking into therapy to better understand everything, sort out my feelings, and get better coping mechanisms and maneuvers to handle my mother until I can go no contact. I have a lot of work to do to fix myself, mend my problems, and be better for the people I love, and in turn, love me. I know this post is a roller coaster, and I apologize if it doesn't all make sense. This chunk of life has been a roller coaster, and so much has happened in so little time that my head is reeling. But I'm happy, my baby is happy, and we are both safe. Everything feels right, and I feel like I'm finally able to see, if that makes sense. Lady P 928 says, "OP, go no contact now. Don't wait for therapy, do it now, block, delete, and remove. That woman is disgusting. She claims to love your child, but allowed her dog to try and attack him. Oh, hell no. They are bad dog owners. Anyone else would have called animal control on the dog. You and your child are better off without her in your life and in your ear. If you want to continue to be happy and grow with your man and child, then cut this toxic woman, I use the term loosely, out of your lives for good. Allowing her to even call you gives her permission to abuse you. Be strong, be smart, and above all, be happy, OP." I have been cutting contact bit by bit since we left, but you are absolutely right. I'm not going to sit around and wait for the inevitable worst from her. Our little one is the only thing that matters to me, and I have no problem saying goodbye to keep them happy and safe. X and I have both been very seriously considering calling local bylaw and police to handle the aggressive dog. Our only holdup is and was my mother's blow-up that would follow. I know for a fact that she would take to Child Protective Services to make our lives miserable and try to take our toddler. At this point, as awful as it sounds, we're just waiting for one of the 5 dogs to lash out and attack her or her fiancé. Even if the authorities couldn't do anything now, since it's been a bit, at least there would be a paper trail. Thank you very much for your response. I don't know if it's worth getting involved in the dog situation at this point. It will only cause more drama in your life and put you in terrible situations with your mum trying to get revenge, as well as making it difficult to cut contact with her. Just let that all go. Maybe the dog will attack someone else, maybe it won't, but you should stay out of it for the sake of your family, as in you, your kid, and your ex. More or less, that is our plan. The less we open the chance for interaction, the better. What happens there, happens there. Not my or his circus. Your ex, soon to not be ex, sounds like a good man. That he would open his home to you and your son and be willing to work with you on mending your relationship is inspiring. You have much to be grateful for. I hope you can make it work. Your son will be the winner. He really is an amazing man. We are solid, but still building every day towards better. I rely on him a lot to help me navigate a lot of social and family situations that I'm honestly a little too naive to handle myself until I can fix that part of myself, and I can get to help him navigate other situations he needs help with too. It's nice to finally have that balance and be together in a way that's healthy and happy. He's happy our little one and I are home again, and I know our little one is so happy to have that playtime with their dad. He is definitely the fun one. Seeing the little bum happy and thriving makes me happy every day. I found it helps to not look at it from a viewpoint of naivety, but from a trauma perspective. There are 4 reactions to trauma: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. I'm sure you can work out for yourself where you fit there. But your abusive mum has most certainly traumatized you to some extent. So don't be hard on yourself here. Trauma can do a total number on you. If you'd like to know more, you can look for terms such as C-PTSD, DARVO, JADE, attachment theory, or narcissistic abuse. For me, it helped me make sense of why I was the way I was. Therapy did the rest. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, I want to do a huge shout out to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You should be up on the screen now. I love you all, and I think every single one of you are amazing for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And again, if you did enjoy today's video, please do tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. All of your hot takes, opinions, whatever you think, really, whatever's going on in your life right now, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Before I leave, I'd also like to announce that I'm going to start doing meme content again on the second channel. I know it's been a while, so click on the Markee head on the screen without the Australian flag behind him if you want to go see some memes. And as always, guys, have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.